Multi-vector integration is Kazakhstan's chosen course of development, and the program, Single Market. Spring brings revival along with it, a revival of nature, mood, feelings, and thoughts. By the way, in the countries of the East, including Kazakhstan, Nowruz is being celebrated right now, a day which symbolizes renewal. And this is also the key theme of our program. Hello, my name is Pavel Koktashev, and you're watching Single Market. In today's program, prospects, how Russia's Science City is planning to cooperate with Kazakhstan's innovation specialists. Navigator, winds of change in the sphere of renewable energy resources. The School of the Market, the new boundaries of Evrokristall. Russia's Science City, Skolkovo, was initially planned as a scientific and technological complex for the development of research and commercialization of its results. It is planned that already in 4 years, the city, which has favorable environments for the development of entrepreneurship and research, will host more than 25,000 people, working in the spheres of nuclear, space and medical technologies, energy efficiency and IT. Our correspondent in Moscow, Dana Nurjan, brings us the report on how Skolkovo is cooperating with partners from Kazakhstan in the sphere of innovation.
Dana Nurjan.
A 3D bioprinter for the printing of internal organs, self-learning robots, or homes which produce energy, all this is already possible today. We're living in an era of incredible technologies. But in order for the innovations to become accessible to everyone, scientific ideas pass a long route from the laboratory to the market. And during every stage of creating a promising innovative product, cooperation of scientists, producers, and investors on a global level is important. Already today, Skolkovo boasts experience of successful cooperation with foreign partners. For example, the foundation is actively cooperating with Kazakhstan's National Agency for Technological Development, with the National Nuclear Center, as well as with companies such as Kazpost and Kazmunai Gas. Those groups who worked here, who created new products, they enter the sales markets of not just the regions of Russia, but also of Kazakhstan. There, they create new workplaces in collaboration with Kazakhstani scientists and colleagues, and they create added value. More than 20 companies who are engaged in projects in Skolkovo are cooperating with Kazakhstan scientists and industrial enterprises. Projects in the sphere of information technologies are some of the more actively developing. One example of such a project is a virtual consultant, which was developed at Skolkovo and in November of last year appeared on the website of Kazakhstan's electronic government. The robot answers the questions of users in 2 languages and even shows initiative in its suggestions. The program allowed the contact center to lower its workload and to improve the quality of its services. In the last 2 years, more than 10 IT companies started developing their business in Kazakhstan. 6 agreements have already been conducted, 5 are pending signature, and 2 more companies are in the middle of talks with investors. There are joint projects in sectors such as agriculture, medicine, and education. We're commencing cooperation with the Nazarbayev University, where wonderful results have been reached over a very short period of time. To a certain degree, we are striving to achieve the same, because in a lot of ways we are similar in the approach to education, in terms of the methods which we use, and the level of our students. In this Russian Science City, some of the more promising directions are considered to be startup tours, within the framework of which the best projects will be chosen from the cities of Russia, as well as from Minsk and Almaty. By the way, the first startup tour in Almaty registered a record turnout, 150 applications and more than 800 participants. This competition allowed them to establish a more clear business strategy for entering the market. According to the conditions set by the Skolkovo Foundation, in every city the program is hosted for 2 days. During the first day, there are trainings, and on the second day, selection. Competitors who sent their applications half a year before and passed the preliminary selection stage take part in day 2. Authors of the most worthy projects have an opportunity to become residents at Skolkovo or receive a development grant. Best mentors of Russia in the sphere of high-tech entrepreneurship arrive here. They can give you concrete advice regarding your project, in which direction you should develop in order to achieve success. I believe that this is one of the key features and valuable aspects of our program. Innovators from Russia, Kazakhstan, Belarus, Armenia, and Kyrgyzstan were able to exchange know-how and information before. But with the creation of the Eurasian Economic Union, they got more opportunities for collaborative work. The most important is that people can exchange sample prototypes, create trial samples of products together, and then already launch smaller series of products, because there is no longer the customs barrier. Development of knowledge-intensive production in the countries of Eurasian integration requires not just creation of clusters like Skolkovo, but also close collaboration of these innovative centers. Educational exchange, startup tours, and joint scientific international level programs are already setting the tone for such cooperation in the future. Dana Nurjan, Timur Altinbayev, Moscow, exclusively for Single Market.
Прошлый 2015 год стал рекордным по вложению инвестиций.
Last year was a record year in terms of the volume of investments into the sphere of renewable energy resources, almost $330 billion. This is a 4% rise from the previous year. An interesting fact, renewable energy resources have reached such a volume at the backdrop of the rapidly falling oil prices. Experts are quite surprised by this before a different correlation was observed. Investments into clean energy rose together with oil prices and fell in response to decreasing prices of hydrocarbons. Alexander Galiev brings us the details.
У Александра Галиева.
In terms of volumes of investments into the sphere of renewable energy resources, China is breaking all records. Last year, the country invested more than $110 billion. This is a third of all the world's investments. As a comparison, the U.S. invested $56 billion into renewable energy resources, almost twice as less. Looking at the Eurasian Economic Union, in its case, it would be more wise to speak about prospects. In Russia, by 2024, the share of renewable energy resources should amount to 4.5%. In Belarus, the plan indicator for 2020, 6%. Last year, Armenia invested $5 million into this sector. These investments will be used to build power stations that work using solar and geothermal energy. In Kazakhstan, according to last year's result, the contribution of renewable energy resources into the national energy pool was 1.5%. The highest number of power stations that operate using wind and solar energy are concentrated in the southern regions of the country. The largest projects are being realized in the Zhombul region. Construction of a station in the South Kazakhstan region is planned for the near future. This project will be realized with the use of the attracted investments from Hungary. The amount that is expected to be received is more than $200 million. By the way, experts believe that in terms of foreign investments into the sphere of renewable energy resources, Kazakhstan is one of the most attractive countries. It offers a favorable business climate for foreign investors, boasts an efficient legislative framework, which regulates activities related to the sphere of renewable energy resources, and in addition, for the country's economy, the development of this sphere is set as a priority. And in conclusion, once again about world trends. The new UN Framework Agreement, which was signed in Paris in December of 2015, can be considered as a powerful impulse for the further evolution of renewable energy resources. As a reminder, its main focus are the new norms set for greenhouse emissions, which will come into force after 2020. These prospects, one way or another, are already forcing industrial countries to pay greater attention to the development of renewable energy resources. That is why, regardless of the collisions that affect the world economy, renewable energy resources will retain their popularity. My name is Alexander Galiev. Until next time on Single Market.
Как вы думаете, когда мир научился...
What do you think? When did people learn how to make bottles out of glass? Turns out that the first production of glass bottles appeared in the 6th century on the territory of the Near East in North Africa. And then the artisans from Venice caught on to this technology. This was the short historical background. Now off to South Kazakhstan, where we'll visit a modern enterprise that produces glass bottles for the food and pharmaceutical industries. In order to stay competitive on the market of food products, a sales strategy should focus on the presentation and product appearance. For drinks, the main component here is the glass bottle. Beverages kept in these types of bottles and jars can be preserved for a longer time without losing their taste. This is what foreign companies take into account when manufacturing the goods of famous brands. Due to the fall in production volumes of the food industry, which is today the main consumer of glass containers, Kazakhstan's glassware market has exhibited a substantial decline. Today, the annual demand for glass bottles reaches only 800 million pieces. This is 400 million less than 3 years ago. At the same time, the fall in demand does not stand in the way of the glass producers increasing their production volumes. The thing is that the share of imports in this sector is still quite high. It reaches up to 60%. In Kazakhstan, only 2 enterprises specialize in this sphere. One is located in Almaty, another in Shymkent. This enterprise, Evrokristall JSC, was opened relatively recently in 2014. It is located on the territory of the industrial zone on Tustik. The geography and location for this production were not chosen randomly. A high concentration of enterprises which are engaged in the production and processing of fruits and vegetable produce, as well as various types of beverages, is observed in the South Kazakhstan region. The special economic zone on Tustik is an attraction point of investments and creation of an optimal environment for business development.
Со стороны государства были подведены.
The state ensured the provision of all the necessary lines of communication. A road was constructed along with a railway dead end to the border. The overall volume of investments from the first order amounted to 1.8 million tenge.
Миллиард 800 миллионов тенге.
This plant's construction project was realized within the framework of the state program Business Roadmap 2020. On consideration of its inclusion into the roadmap was not only the region's potential for the production of food products that was taken into account, but also the availability of raw materials for the production of glassware. The main component, quartz sand, which is delivered here from a quarry that is located in the neighboring Kizloorda region.
Геологические запасы этого карьера составляют 8.
The geological reserves of this quarry amount to 8.5 million tons. Out of this volume, over the period of 15 years, we have extracted only 1 million tons. This means that we have enough reserves for 70 to 80 years. In its first stage, the capacities of the Evrokristall plant stand at 80 tons of glassware per day. This is 70 million units of products annually. Today, this plant is getting ready to increase its production volumes. This will become possible with the launching of the second stage. Within its framework, one more furnace is being built, which will allow to increase production capacities to 200 million bottles per year.
При второй очереди у нас, значит, предполагается запускать.
During the second stage, we are planning to launch a glass-forming machine with the so-called NPB technology, which will allow to produce glassware with thinner glass walls, for example, with a thinner bottom. Therefore, this will be lighter glassware.
То есть более облегченную стеклотару.
Чем легче изделие, тем меньше.
The lighter the container, the easier it is to melt the glass mass, and this means a lower glass melting load on the furnace. This type of production will allow us to save around 7 to 8% of energy resources. By increasing production volumes and optimizing costs, the enterprise is planning to lower the cost of glassware production by up to 30%. As a result, its products will become more competitive. Improvements in logistics also ought to be taken into account. This entails the completion of construction of the transnational transit corridor Western Europe, Western China, a section of which passes through the South Kazakhstan region. Thanks to the high quality of its road surface, the plant will be able to lower its transport cost.
А раньше, условно говоря, чтобы машину отправить в Алмату, нужно было затратить, просили...
Before, in order to send transportation to Almaty, it cost around 120,000 tenge. Now this can be done for a price of 80,000 tenge. Therefore, on average, transportation of one bottle costs somewhere in the range of 2 tenge. Taking into account the current market realities, every tenge that is saved is a contribution to the enterprise. Such a rational approach leads to the products being competitive on the domestic as well as foreign markets. By the way, today the products of the South Kazakhstani enterprise are purchased not only by the enterprises that are located in Kazakhstan, but it also has clients in the neighboring Kyrgyzstan. The prospective plans of Evrokristall include expanding the boundaries of its exports. Oleg Boldarev, Didar Isayev, exclusively for Single Market. That's all for today. My name is Pavel Kokdyshev. Kind reminder, all the episodes of our program are available on www.kazakh-tv.kz. Until next time on Single Market, a territory without borders.